I will just kick off a broadcast and then I'll basically say when we move over to the dailies and backward section. So, Adam, you want to kick things off?
Ryan, just how much are you looking forward to the upcoming World Cup campaign?
Yeah, a lot. I think everybody knows how desperate we are to qualify for a World Cup, how amazing the Euros have been, and you know the World Cup is just probably the one thing left that this kind of generation of players wants to do and tick off the list. So obviously it starts now. We need to get off to a good start, so everyone's desperate to do just that.
Where would qualification rank amongst your career achievements if you have to get that done?
Yeah, it'd be right up there. I think everybody would probably be the same as well. You know, especially when I was younger, I've said it before, you know, it's not something we were blessed to see much with Scotland qualifying for anything, especially World Cup. So you know, to be part of a team that did that would be pretty special.
You were quite emotional against Serbia a years ago when you finally qualified for a major tournament. What sort of reaction do you think we'd get from Ryan Christie if you were to qualify for the World Cup?
Floods of tears again, I'm sure. Hopefully this time not on camera. Yeah, listen, like I said, it would be a massive achievement for everyone who's kind of been involved in this journey so far. You know, it's kind of 6 massive games, 6 cup finals, if you will. I think we go into it in a good place because we know how much we want it.
It's quite like that, but it's quite condensed and it's all right in front of you rather than it being really spread out like we've seen previously.
Yeah, 100%. I think it helps in terms of the group as well because, you know, especially when I started with Scotland, you go into these campaigns and you can have a completely different team from the one you started to the one you finish with. Like you said, with it being spread out over such a long time, whereas when it's compressed, you know, you feel like you know the boys are all together. It's not that much time between camps, and you can kind of hopefully maintain any you know positive results or feelings in the camp we hopefully get this time.
The fact that there are so many guys that have been there and done it in terms of qualifying for a major tournament, how helpful do you think that will be over the next 3 months?
Yeah, definitely helpful. Obviously, we've got the experience of the last qualifiers, and you know we know obviously what you need to do. You need to start off as well as you can, which is our plan this week. That'll set you up in right good stead to try and qualify. Like I said, all the boys that have qualified before, I think this is the one thing that's kind of missing is going to our World Cup, and it's something that I know myself and so many of the other boys are desperate to do along with the gaffer.
There's a belief there as well, because you look at the squad, there's obviously guys that are playing at a really high level, but some younger guys coming in as well that maybe add an extra spark into the squad too. Yeah,
probably something that was always kind of going to be needed. You know, you've seen that in different points down this journey, and you know, first it was probably the likes of kind of Aaron Hickey and Lewis Ferguson, and they've kind of cemented their spot now. And you look at the likes of, you know, young Ben and people like that, and Max, who are now stepping up, and you know, not just kind of making up the numbers, but are really here to make an impact on the squad too. So it's something you need, and it always you know, keeps the squad feeling fresh.
How much does the experience of the Euros help you, Ryan, just when you're going in to try and get back to a major tournament?
I think the main thing is, you know, apart from maybe the last Euros, a touch of disappointment we didn't go further in the competition, but the feeling of being there and seeing what it means to the country and to the fans, having that experience of seeing it gives you so much, you know, want to do it again for this country and for the fans. And you know, the World Cup's a massive tournament, a massive occasion. We know how much everybody in this country would love to see us go there, so it's up to us to try and make that happen.
You'll obviously be too young to remember France '98, but have you heard stories about that? Have you watched YouTube videos of that opening game?
Yeah, I've watched a bit. I've definitely heard plenty of stories from you know, football heads I've come through my career telling me all about it. Definitely too young, sadly, to remember it. You know, it was the same when we kind of qualified for the first Euros. I couldn't remember that either, sadly. So probably the same with most of the boys in the squad. And to be fair, it puts a bit of an extra kind of fire behind you, because I know how it felt as a kid watching, you know, Scotland not quite qualifying, how gutting it was. So you know, we're trying to be the opposite of that.
You say you're trying to be the opposite of that. Do you feel the pressure to do that, Ryan?
I don't think we feel a pressure from the outside. I think we probably put a pressure on ourselves as a squad because we know the achievements we've had up to now and how good we can be as a team. I think everybody feels that. That's why, certain results in the past, when it doesn't go our way, we get even more frustrated than usual. But I think from the outside, we're in a great place just now and have been over the last few years, where everybody's kind of pulling in the same direction. I don't think we had that when I first kind of joined the Scotland setup with the national team. So it's a nice place to be, and that will only help us in this qualifying campaign.
How big a difference is the mood just generally in camp, what you feel outside the camp as well, from when you first came into now?
Massive, to be honest, for so many different aspects in terms of, these boys have now been on like a 4, 5, 6 year journey together, so it does almost feel like a kind of separate club occasion when you come away and see all the boys again. The gaffer over his tenure has been superb of keeping that core of players together and getting success along the way. And yeah, obviously the success that it's brought has obviously helped us with the kind of confidence and belief side of things that we are a country that can qualify, and pick up big results against big teams.
A couple of guys in the squad throughout the summer have had a few moves, Ben being one of them as well. What sort of excitement has that brought within camp?
Yeah, I think it's always a good thing. Now you look across our squad for the teams that some of the boys are playing with. It's massive. You look at, obviously the obvious one is Billy and Scotty, winning Serie A with Napoli is huge. But everybody, not just in the UK as well, playing, and look at Lewis, that's been amazing for out in Italy as well. Even that gives you a confidence that week after week, all of us are kind of playing against the best around Europe. So it should be no different when we come here. We should compete the same.
How pleased were you to see Ben join you at club level, and how good a move do you think that is for him and his career and development?
Yeah, delighted, brilliant move for him. Delighted I've got another Scotsman through the door finally at Bournemouth with me. He's been great since he came in. I think it's a great move for him in his career. He's such a talented player. He's so kind of positive on the ball, and he's a difference maker in games, to be honest, which at club level we need, and we probably need it international as well. He's a type of player, to be honest, that we probably don't make too many of in Scotland, kind of pacey, attacking wingers. And yeah, like I said, he's come in Bournemouth with this kind of hit the ground running. And probably for him in his career, moving on from Liverpool, I know he has had a couple of good loan moves, but to kind of come out of that shadow of being the youngster that's coming through and establishing yourself as a first team player at another Premier League club is a great step for him.
As you say, Scotland haven't really developed too many of those types of players. Is that something you really think you can really add something different to this Scotland squad, and that can really help over the course of the next 6 big games? Yeah,
for sure. He's like I said, he's the kind of player that can change a game. I think you've seen that in the games he's already played for Scotland. The fans have taken a liking to him because of how direct and how positive he is on the ball. And he's in an environment here where, we're only going to push that, and we're only going to try and help and complement him as a player. I think the gaffer's wanting to do that as well. So, I'm sure he'll play his part hopefully over this campaign too. I'll be delighted if he does.
Did he speak to you before making the move to Bournemouth, or have you kind of had to take him under your wing a little bit?
Yeah, definitely trying to take him under my wing. I didn't speak to him before the move, to be honest. He was all very hush-hush for that. I was getting whispers from his teammate Andy, that was about it. But I was asked a couple of questions about him from the guys at Bournemouth, which, from my side were obviously all positive from what I'd seen from my time with him at the national team. And yeah, like I said, I think he's got a big future ahead of him, hopefully, a long time with me at Bournemouth.
What's he been like around the place?
Yeah, very loud straight away. He's straight in the door, and I think a few of the boys have made comments that I think they realise now my accent's a bit of a pretend Scottish one compared to him. I don't think anyone can understand a word he's saying, to be honest, down in Bournemouth, but maybe that's where I come in as the translator.